Joji. She has got us checking out Mobius Loop today. Governed Mind. New artist to me. I see you all over there. I see you. Yeah, Mobius Loop, Governed Mind, new artist. First request from Miss Joji today. Shout out to her again. Newer friend to the Foxtrot family, so we appreciate her and her chance to be able to hang out with us today. This is why we do early streams and late streams on Tuesdays, so that way some of our friends have just some new opportunities who obviously in different countries it's kind of difficult sometimes with the time difference. So appreciate her for hanging out with us today. So we're going to check out new artists to the family. You know what I'm saying? Let's go ahead and jump into it.
Slice of pie, so they all just stay inside. Do what it says in the new guidelines. How many dare to question the government's intentions? Who governs minds? Who governs minds? Who's governed mind in you? What's true?
Everything's a lie, a movie script design. I try to stay away from political topics as much as possible, but we're going to try to again to speak generally here, because this is not just any one place problem. There's a lot of places in the world that a lot of these conversations kind of, it spreads a little bit, you know what I mean? The first thing I want to say is I love the overall sound and tone of this. You know what I mean? This is the first time I've ever done, I think, anything of this kind of like sound on the channel. So I'm already like, yes, love the vibes. Love the vibes. I like the fact that she is, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Because I definitely feel like she's being herself, right? I don't think that this is like her embellishing any part of her character. But the purposeness of I think looking the way that she kind of does in the video in front of all these really, really noticeable government buildings, type of thing, where it's kind of like being that person who's not part of that group. Does that make sense? So I feel like it's kind of like showing a little bit of that. Again, I feel like there's always a place in art. And this is specifically in art, and especially music, for the people's voices to be heard. Now, trust me, guys, I know that the people who need to hear the message are not fucking listening. Trust me, I know. You know what I mean? But I think this kind of stuff is important because there's a lot of people out there that still fall into that trap of trusting too much. You know what I mean? I hear people say that you shouldn't trust the government and that they don't trust the government until the guy that they voted for gets in there. And then all of a sudden they trust again. You know what I mean? Well, you got to have faith in the process. Well, what happened if we weren't supposed to trust them? That they're all fucked up. That they're all shady. And now all of a sudden we feel different. The playbook line. Are we not watching a playbook happen right now? We were told what was going to happen. If that doesn't tell you anything, then you're really not paying attention. And like the comment which she was said about, like, you know, how everybody stays inside and follows the new guidelines. It just made me think about how all those people that I'm thinking of, how they don't really get out in the world either. You know what I mean? Because if you get out in the world and you talk to people and you interact with people and you'd see people, you would see how much different your perspective would be. You'd be like, wow, these people's lives are really not that much different than mine. Wow, I might have had preconceived notions about this kind of stuff because people taught me and pushed me in a direction to feel about something that I really didn't know anything about. I could literally say this about almost any time that I've ever had conversations with people, because I'm not typically the one to ever bring up any kind of topic that gets political, but people love to talk about it. Normally when those people start talking about bullshit and start talking about all, you know, marginalized groups of people and stuff like that, and again, always feeling the need to justify why they feel a certain way about groups of people that are different than them, right there is already your first red flag. When you feel the need to justify your feelings to other people about why you might have some racial or bigots perspective. I guess the first thing is, like, I always want to ask people is, like, what do your friends or the people that you've talked to that belong to those particular groups, what did they have to say about these subjects? I've been so sick of people telling me how they feel about trans people for the last 4 or 5 years when they don't even know a trans person. Never talked to one. Never had a conversation. But yet everybody has an opinion about it. But again, what do your trans friends have to say about the situation? And I get it. Just because you might be part of a group of people does not mean that you speak for every single person amongst that community. But God damn it, if we won't use them as an example, you know what I mean, of how everybody fits into one category because one person said something. That's idiocracy right there too. You know what I mean? We spend a lot of time trying to justify bullshit to other people to make ourselves feel better. Again, the overall point, I think, of this entire song and this entire conversation that I always take away from these songs is, I've said it about 1 million times on the channel, is that we are too busy arguing not on the pedestal, you know what I mean? Because we ain't part of that group. We're arguing down here about bullshit that does not matter, why the people who make all the decisions for us are making money and getting everything that they wanted in life. You know what I mean? Making rules to control us, making laws to control us, and tell us how to live our lives. And yet we keep buying into it that they have our best interest in mind. But you can only push people so far before people will wake up. And at the same time, I think that we're just going through just constant states of mass control tactics. You know what I mean? We're going through the day and age of the spreading of misinformation, so nobody can trust anything at all. So anytime that you bring up any sort of like opinion-based anything, when you try to give them facts, nobody's going to believe them. Because we're already at that point now when you could literally show people the facts and they won't believe it. You know what I mean? It's not credible anymore. We went through this with COVID, where all of a sudden, for the first time in my entire life, I was told to not trust the doctors and not trust the scientists. Okay, that's where we are in a society, that now we don't trust the medical experts. Now you pick and choose your medical expert to trust. Okay, all right. We're only a minute into this song, guys. This is how much I've talked, so obviously it's pretty thought-provoking.
To confuse you and divide, to delude you and abuse you, to keep you from the truth. What's true? When no one dares to say what's true. True. What's true? And they all wanna see the sacred sites, but no one wants to fight for their ancient rights. Where we will not stay inside, won't do what it says.
Okay, so we see what I'm saying with how she looks like she stands so much out compared to everybody else in society. You know what I mean? Where, again, she's dancing and twirling around all these people that just look like, like they're on their way to their jobs or some shit. You know what I mean?
What it says in the new guidelines. How many days to question the government's intentions? Who govern minds? Who governs minds? Who's governed mind in you? What's true? When they keep telling lies, continue to deny, refuse to answer why. When the news is an illusion to keep you from the truth. What's true? When no one dares to say what's true.
We're living in a plutocracy disguised as a democracy, where the affluent are getting off scot-free with the tax haven hypocrisy. Down on the picket lines in the UK, where trade unions are trying to have their say. A fair day's work for a fair day's pay is starting to sound just a little cliche. Can we all agree that equality is the pinnacle of human dignity? Still, it's hard to ignore the intent of the law when you break down a word into its archaic form.
Who govern minds? Who governs minds? Who's governed mind in you?
I guess your government do Etonian sophism. These phonies with the cronyism. Roll the wrong pants and you'll go to prison.
To keep you from the truth.
What's true?
I feel it's almost over.
When no one dares to say what's true,
To keep you from the truth.
Who is to say what is true? Again, I feel like they pretty much just broke down, I think, like all the points that I think I made, like when I was talking earlier. Like throughout the rest of the song, they just continued to keep kind of just talking about the same exact things. You know what I mean? Where, again, what is the truth? The truth is whatever we make it to be. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the overall problem, right? Is like, you know, that's what we were kind of talking about, is like nobody really cares about what the actual truth is. It's the truth that they want to create in their own mind and world to believe. You made the comment about like, can we all agree that equality is like the basis of like human dignity? I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but in the United States of America, we are trying to get rid of the idea of equality in all of its forms. No matter what you want to call that, you know what I mean? We're trying to, again, put some people up above the rest and the needs of those people above the rest of everybody else. And I think the easiest one that you could probably say today is just like, we're back in a day and an age, and I think in our country, where we're trying to separate ourselves from women again. I can sit here and give you examples all day long of like why I think that. But I think that that's like the first automatic one for me is, again, we're trying to create the divide of men and women again. We're trying to kick women out of positions of power within businesses. And we're trying to make it a lot more difficult for them to advance. Unless you're in some sort of environment where that's already part of what you're already a part of. You know what I mean? Women-owned businesses or anything like that, right? Or women-run businesses where they'll continue to thrive in those environments because it was never going to change. You know what I mean? But all those other places that try to pretend like, oh yeah, we're going to give y'all a chance now. If you're just thinking about it from the perspective of a guy to a woman, think about the skin color next, and think about how those opportunities are also lacking. So, again, I feel like we're in a day and age of trying to cause division and amongst each other when the problem really is above us. So don't fall into the trap. Don't be the sheep that you claim that you're not. You know what I mean? Don't be that sheep. If you don't think you're a sheep, don't be a fucking sheep. Have your own thought. Listen, have your own opinion. Don't rely on other people to tell you how to feel about things. Be kind to a stranger. Tell somebody that you love them. And if you haven't joined the Foxtrot family, there's always room for you.